Okay, this is number 2, Henrik Knudsen speaking. Let's go for some of the last ones. This is important. Have a look at whichever macro, meso, or micro level. It's up to you to define it. So try and think what is relevant in the case at hand. Resource analysis. Which type of resources are we looking at? Are we looking at economic? Are we looking at some competence? What is the resource analysis built upon? Strategy map, Hofstede, and within culture, and Shine with the iceberg. Iceberg metaphor, and also compare to that with the onion diagram. New old and old power matrix. This is the one we were working on last week from the Harvard Business Review article with new business models and new values. Have a look at this. In developing it, it's very important to understand the mechanisms behind new and old power matrix. Extremely important. So take a note, please. Competencies: core products, strategic business units, and product scheme analysis. At least, what is a core product? Which competencies are behind these core products? Stakeholder analysis, we've covered that area, but we haven't covered a social contract. So do organizations go for profit? Do go for stakeholder analysis or stakeholder considerations? Is there a social contract? Coming back to that later in the ISO 26000. But this could be one of the aspects that are relevant to think about. Product value chain, primary and support activities, and then remember what's outside the organization. You can also make a value chain upstream, or you can elaborate on it with a value chain downstream. Also looking at the value shop now, value network. 7 P's, we've been through that several times, leave that. Creating value through networks. I'll be covering this on Tuesday. Probably looking out for some more information on this approach, how organizations can create alliances, different networks, and thus move away from traditional market and traditional hierarchy. When we're talking about competencies, remember we put it into 3 dimensions, whether it was knowledge, what you actually know, skills, what you actually are capable of doing, or is it values that are behind whichever approach that you're taking. All these 3 dimensions are important when looking at competencies. Formula 1, I think I've mentioned it a few times. Service evaluation could also be product. So this model that we're talking about, to try and compare, benchmark yourself towards others. Where's the positioning going to be? That's a very important part of the Formula 1. And first you find out which positioning to take up. This leads further on to which communication is going to be, which is the best approach in communicating with these segments. When we're setting goals for organizations, remember we could you can use the SMART approach, but also at the top level we have the vision of the organization, some aspiring future, mission, more short term, a little more tangible, and from following that, goals that are very tangible. ISO 26000, have a look at it. It's not compulsory, but areas that organizations can cover if they want to have a more social and sustainable approach to their products and services. When we have a strategy, where is it we want to go, and how do we want to go there? How we want to go there is the intended strategy. What we actually do is then the emergent strategy, remembering there's a drift between what we actually intend to do and then the way we go about getting there. These have more or less been covered. They're very much from global marketing, so only a few of them are new from the international business environment. Once again, profit maximization compared to others. Is it the sole purpose? And the inside versus outside in approach. How this organization affects the environment and how the environment affects the organization. This could actually be supported furthermore by a PESTEL analysis or a PEST analysis. And we also covered the strategic positioning. We've covered the different ways of organizing an organization, typically the divisional, which is for larger organizations, the functional, that very much follows a value chain, inbound logistics, production, sales and marketing. Or is it a matrix structure? Matrix structure where we use the classical aspects of either functional or divisional, but where the specialists go through all the different either divisions or functions depending on the need. Disadvantage with the matrix structure is where is the loyalty if there's time shortage, economic shortage? Is it on the specialist or is it within the unit where they're actually positioned or bound? Blueprints. This is when we're moving into services. So as you could make a value chain of a product, support it with value shop, and support it with value network. I said that this blueprint could very much equal value chain for production companies. So blueprints are for the services, value chains are for production companies, and they're supported by both of them, value shop and value network. So just keep focus on these aspects, and it would be neat to be able to write something about the value chain primarily in production, whereas blueprints are the steps in a service, these two supporting them. Have a look through all these different contributions that we've found together. Think about them individually, and whichever case you're given, just read it through carefully and reflect on what is the question. Should actually say, one, what is the questions? What is your interpretation of these questions? What is your priority? What is it? Which models, approaches are you going to apply? Then you make your analysis or your application. This application leads to some conclusions. So what are the conclusions on the on the way that you have made your analysis. Perhaps even some partial conclusions underway. Okay, and hopefully you can say this is your approach. You can have alternative approaches. So how well have these models and approaches been, and which, if there's some areas that you would have liked to cover, which alternatives could you have used? And if there's given the time for it or asked for it, try and take the next steps and saying from your conclusion, your analysis and your conclusions, what are then the perspectives? Development from whichever you have been working with. So that more or less sums it up. I hope it makes good sense. Please have a look through it, give it some thought, reflect on it, and of course you can take these notes and we can discuss them further on Tuesday. All for now, and well, have a good time. Bye.